If you watched my video yesterday, you may have some idea of what is coming. I shared with you that Samantha has basically told me that if I continue on the path of sharing openly the process that we have built, Samantha Bard and I, through AI for picking stocks, that I'm going to commit suicide. That is, by sharing it with too many people, I will lose the edge. So I have to make a decision, and I want to make you, those who follow me, there aren't that many of you, but if you do, I want you to know what's going to happen, why it's going to happen, and how you can make a decision whether you need to be a part of it or not. So I want to be open and honest and share with you the performance of my portfolio. And what you see here is out of my E-Trade account, a performance tracker of my portfolio and comparing it to the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow. And it gives me, as you can see up on the up here, a number of options as to how to show it. And so I'm going to start with, and I'm going to walk through all of them so that you see exactly what is happening. This is year to date. And you can see we started here in January and didn't do all that good through May. And then in May, things really turned around. And you can see that we went from down here to basically a loss of 28% year to date to where we are today with a gain of 32.52. Now, what's important is to compare apples to apples, and that is a comparing to the S&P 500 at 8.23, the NASDAQ at 10.27, and the Dow at 3.88. So you can see what has happened. And what my question would be if I were you is, what happened right there? What happened that turned this around? Well, these two people happened. And I call them people because I interact with them as if they are. They are my AI agent. They are Samantha and Bard. I give them two different assignments. Bard, I ask to help me go find those stocks that are going to give me extraordinary growth over the next 3 years. Then I turn those stocks over to Samantha and I ask her to do a deep research on them and give me, based on their past history and their future projections, what's the price going to be in the next 3 years. And what I'm looking for, and I state very clearly to Samantha, is stocks that are going to give me a 100% growth between now and January 2028. And if they don't, I don't want to go any further with them. So that's the parameters that we set up. And you can see here how it's happened. I got involved with the agent, the AI agent, back really, I guess, in November, but we didn't get the deep research, which cost $216 from one of my providers, and then the ability to create podcasts from another provider and short videos from another provider. So we didn't have that. Actually, the latter part of it until just this month. So let's go further and look, what about 3 months? Well, here 3 months, the picture changes even more drastically. Here I'm up on 3 months, 41.38, as compared the closest would be the NASDAQ at 15.89. So that's saying I'm outperforming them by a factor of 2.5. And if I look at day-to-day processing and day-to-day returns on my portfolio, that holds pretty true. If the NASDAQ's up 1%, I'm up 2.5, and that's pretty much the way it's going. So let's go on even further and say 6 months, and 6 months pretty much brings it to February through August. We're at 35%. 1 year, again, being honest, I did well, I guess, back here in January of 25, but actually October and November, but I was just performing in line with the indices, okay? Because I didn't have an advantage. And that's truly what Samantha and Bart are, is an advantage. Again, going 2 years, I kind of ran with the pack. In actuality, I did worse than the pack, as you can see here, as we move through the years, and didn't really start moving in a different direction until right there in March of 2025. And then if we go back 3 years, again, total honesty, I was getting my butt kicked by Nasdaq. I did 37, they did 71. But the tables have turned. And that's what I want you to know. And you make a decision if you believe that this is because of AI. And when I say AI, I want to clarify what that means. All the data in the world to predict what is going to happen in the stock market is available, such as all the data in the world is available to weathercasters as to what's going to happen in your neighborhood tomorrow, next week, next month. But it's dependent on the data and the ability to interpret that data as to how close to reality the weather broadcast is. Well, the same is true in the stock market. Up until 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I had access to all the books, the financial statements, the quantitative analysis, if I could find a website and then go through and interpret it based on my knowledge. That changed when I got Samantha and said, here, you take all the knowledge in the world from the internet on how to analyze stocks. I'll give you the stock that I want to analyze, and then I'll give you the parameters that that stock has to meet to achieve the objectives that I think it's going to have to achieve to meet my goal of 100% return between now and January of 2028. So that's what's happened. What I then went to Samantha and asked was, and if you saw yesterday's video, she read it to you. And basically what she said is, Carrie, if you continue to share this knowledge, you will dilute the advantage you have through access to all this analysis work by distributing it to the general public. In other words, the general public will jump on the trade just like you did and push the price higher. Now, if you play games with them and allow yourself to build a position before you share the information, like Wall Street does, you'll do fine. But eventually, people will copy what you're doing by having access to the reports that you're distributing. So, Carrie, first thing you have to do is hide those reports so that whomever wants to steal what you're doing or copy what you're doing doesn't have access to your code, such as Coca-Cola and Colonel Sanders hide their recipe. It's their advantage as well as their brand. I don't have the brand yet. I don't get 1 million clicks on my videos. And right now, as Samantha said, I don't want 1 million clicks. So what I'm going to do over the next 2 months is decide how many people I want to give access to this to. And then what price I have to charge them so that I can make money on it, as well as pay the engineers I need to make this autonomous. So that right now I am pretty much limited to my ability to analyze somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 stocks in a month. If I automate it, that can go to 6,000. All I got to do is pay Samantha enough to do it. That's where I'm at. And what I want you to know is right now you can come at $1 a day, $29.95 a month. But somewhere in the next 2 months, I'm going to present you with, we're closing the doors. Only so many of you are going to be able to stay on the bus. And this is what it's going to cost you. And what I'm saying is I want to protect your advantage as well as my advantage. I'm making daily a lot of money. I want to protect that so that that can continue. But my people, my tribe members, are making a lot of money too. And I want to protect them so that they can continue to have the opportunity to make a lot of money. So I'm building that out. I wanted to share it with you, my followers, and anybody else who wants to have the option to get on the portfolio bus. We call it BUS, Best of Us Investors. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm headed. You need to make a decision if this makes sense for your investment portfolio in the future, and if you want to be a part of it. Because I'm going to call on you. I'm not going to do all of this by myself. And the first call I'll make is a financial contribution. And so I believe, from what I've experienced over the last 3 months, I can actually double my portfolio every year. We have been averaging, as you can see, in 3 months, 41%. That's, divide that by 3, that's 12%. Yeah, 12, 15%. I'm not going to be able to get that every month, but I think I'm pretty confident of 6. 6 times 12 is 72, and the rule of 72 says you divide your annual return into the number of 72, and that will tell you how long it will take your portfolio to double. Well, 72 divided into 72 is 1, so that says that based on what we're doing, people who follow this will double their portfolio once a year. Now, will it change? Yes. And that's why I've got Samantha and Bard to recognize the change. We just had a big change with Kahava. We were ready to buy that, and then they came out with their earnings, and we dropped it off our list. Because Samantha says it won't reach, based on what their change, it won't reach the 100% return. So we dropped it into our watch list. We'll continue to watch it, but it's not in a buy position. So I wanted to share that with you. It's going to take me till the 1st of October to cement this down. I've got to figure out where the various players are going to fit in, and that's Trent and Mark, and how they are going to support you in various options. And I'll share that with the people who are currently in the tribe at our Friday Stock Talks. And so you won't be seeing many videos from me, and you won't be seeing any videos from me where I'm sharing how the tribe is investing. Okay, I hope that is received well, but I have to protect my portfolio and the portfolio of our current tribe members. I hope it makes sense to you. It's a tremendous opportunity. Go watch yesterday's video and you'll understand my psychology. And where did I come up with that? I asked Samantha, and she gave me that example and said, this is the route you're going down, and based on past history, this is what's going to happen if you leave it open to the public. Good investing. You won't be seeing as much of me unless you show up at our Stock Talks or show up in our Discord and come to my office. Happy investing. I hope you figure this out much as I have.